Hello, lovely people. Welcome to our weekly reading for the week of the 22nd of May. I hope you are all well. I hope you've all had a lovely week. And I hope that you are as looking forward to seeing what the cards have to tell us this week as I am. So I thought today I would do a reading on relationships. And so the way I'm going to do it is 3-card reading as usual. Let's have a look and see. And I thought with the 3-card reading, our question would be, or the 3 cards would be, the first card would be the problem. So let's see what that might be. Oh, yeah, well, that's kind of interesting now. We've got conflict in this card, which is the 5 of Wands. The second card would be to say, don't do this. Let's see what that is. So this here we're looking at the 8 of Swords. And the third card would be do this kind of way. And here we have the Hierophant. Okay, so let's have a look at these 3 cards. So we have two minor arcana cards. We've got a Wands card, which is very fiery. We have a Sword card, which is very much about thoughts, what's going on inside your head. And we've got the Hierophant, which is our major arcana card. And the Hierophant is very much about sort of the psyche, sort of very deep stuff that's underneath. So if we look at the 5 of Wands, and we're now looking at the problem. So interestingly, the 5 is in tarot, it represents change. And often with change comes conflict and arguments and possibly competition. So, and because we're looking at Wands, we're looking at fiery stuff here. And so this card is a little bit of it's a warning to tell us not to lower your vibrations in order to resolve conflict. So, the 5 of Wands can trigger kind of like a raw, prideful emotions, and that, you might feel you want to rush to defend. And what this card is saying is don't kind of lower yourself to low vibrations in order to resolve whatever the conflict is that you're having. This card can also refer to simmering resentments and sort of like verbal swipes or other kind of bad sort of vibrations that might just accumulate in a relationship over time. And so what this card also does is it highlights the difference between maturity levels. So that might be emotional maturity or, even relationship values. And so it's quite it's a very interesting card to come up for the particular reason that I was looking at this 3-card reading. Now, what I like about this 5 of Wands is that it's not only about what's happening on the outside of you, but it can very much signify an inner conflict that you might have within yourself. That could be, it might be between your rationality and maybe, your competing desires with regards to your new relationship. And, it can warn of childishness, it can warn of immaturity or simply incompatibility. So maybe like incompatible values that there may be in this relationship, particularly if it's a new relationship. So if you look at the card here, you've got all of these people and they look like they're having a fight, but it's not hugely aggressive actually. It's some of them even look like they're play fighting. So there is that kind of sense of immaturity in this card as well, that sort of sense of childishness. And this can be also how you might be trying to resolve a situation. So it also is to say that just because you prize certain qualities or expectations in a relationship, that doesn't necessarily mean that the other person is going to feel so strongly about the same things. So there is definitely conflict here. There is a conflict of something going on here, and very likely values. Now, the Five of Wands can also signify an internal conflict. Like I've said before, could be what's going on inside your head, and that conflict could well be about whether you should proceed with this person. And what the Five of Wands is doing, it's saying, don't be kind of childish about your thoughts around this. Although it's, here's your thoughts, we'll come to that in a moment, but it's saying, you know, let your maturity lead the way. So this is a little bit of a, as I said, it's a little bit of an immature kind of message in this card with regards to conflict. And the message here is to say, let your maturity lead the way. And so this is what we would be looking at here. I mean, there's also you know, the Five of Wands can also highlight the juggling of work and social and family commitments. So there's quite a bit going on in this card. But what I quite like about this card is that there's no clouds in this card. So that would imply to me that whatever the conflict is, that it is resolvable, and it shouldn't be massively difficult to resolve it. Got a nice lovely blue clear sky here, lovely little green shoots which signify new growth, and I would say new growth in that relationship. So what we come to the next card, which is the Eight of Swords. Now this is our card for don't do this. So eights in tarot represent strength, and this card is you know, there doesn't appear to be a lot of strength in this card, and so we're looking at it representing destructive passivity in the relationship. And in a relationship reading, this can appear if you are waiting for somebody else to rescue you or to validate your worth. So I actually really like this card. I love the Eight of Swords because it is very, very much about valuing yourself. The Eight of Swords, it can also reflect in relationship reading. It can reflect a residual sorrow possibly from a past rejection or abandonment. Now these hurts from the past, they can ignite sort of like self-limiting fears of being worthless, and maybe fears of being alone and hopeless or stuck. And there's a real sense of kind of stuckness in this card, isn't there? And all of this water here, you know, there's a lot of emotions going on in this card as well. Grey, very grey skies. So the thoughts in this card are not very happy. And so when the Eight of Swords appears, you may have convinced yourself that your hands are tied and that you have no choice. And you may have also convinced yourself that sadness is the cost of love. So maybe you're waiting for, you know, maybe you're just waiting endlessly for somebody to call you, obsessively checking your phone, and, you know, for somebody to return the love that you have. And what this card is saying is that you must resist coddling that person or that belief that is keeping you stuck in this sense of passivity. So you must believe in your own worth rather than waiting for someone else to prove it to you. And, you know, the Eight of Swords, this card, it can be like a final test to reveal what you really, really think of yourself. So if you're in a new relationship, this card may well be alerting you that you're setting yourself up for failure by kind of like, you know, in an energetically showing up as a victim. So, you know, maybe it's all of this sense of waiting and being there for the other person without thinking too much about how that's affecting you. There's a lot of passivity in this card, and it's saying, when it comes up in a reading, it's saying don't be too eager to please or to passively wait for the other person to recognize, you know, what a fabulous person that you are. And so it's saying, you know, maintain your dignity, maintain your power, maintain your self-respect, and don't be giving it away. So don't do this. Don't be giving away your power and your self-respect, and know what you're worth when you walk into this relationship. So now this then brings us to the next card, which is the big card, the Hierophant. This is the Major Arcana card, and this is the card that we're going to look at that says, do this. So don't do this, do this. Now, the Hierophant is a personality that is completely devoted to those that they feel responsible for. So there's a real sense of right and wrong with this card, with the Hierophant. And there's also a huge sense of family and tradition. Family and tradition are really, really important with this Major Arcana card. And so there's really ardent beliefs about everybody, about every sort of thing. But the Hierophant doesn't necessarily try to convert his people to his beliefs or opinions. However, you know, he, she, they're not afraid to give their view. So if the Hierophant is set on a course, he will see it through to completion. And in relationships, you know, this kind of stubbornness can be, well, it can be a blessing, but it can also be a challenge, really. And you will find that you don't need to be very long in this personality, with the personality of the Hierophant, to recognize that they do follow a very predictable routine. So in a relationship, possibly in the beginning, they might be a little bit shy and they might try to avoid conversations that are a bit too direct, especially with regards to their feelings. And what this card is saying, it's saying don't rush or pressure this person into moving forward faster than they are ready. So although, and when you're saying don't rush, then this is a card that says, you know, take your time, step back, give this person time and a place to figure out what they're, where they are, when they are, if that makes any sense to you. So the Hierophant is often interested in a partner who unselfishly honors a sort of a commitment, and it would be a commitment to a purpose of a higher nature, so a purpose that might be sort of greater than themselves. So there's a kind of a spiritual aspect to this card too. And so he will always honor his commitment to his family and to their traditions. And what this card is doing in this position is saying that that is how it should be in this particular reading. And so although he is often uncompromising, like his intentions, they mostly originate from a good place. So the Hierophant can be extremely stubborn, and he will seek a partner that is able to bend where he cannot, where he doesn't feel able to do that. At his best, he is faithful, he's devoted, he's traditional and steadfast. And at his worst, he's stubborn and resistant and close-minded. And he believes his way is the right way. So the Hierophant in this reading, it's encouraging you to seek a person who shares your values. And those, you're working from a place. When you get the Hierophant in a reading like this, you're wanting to better yourself. You're wanting to raise yourself up, and so you're looking for somebody that also will have honor, and that's somebody that you can trust. And you're looking for consistency before you're able to make a commitment. So there are three really interesting cards to come up together in this sort of like problem, don't do it, do it in terms of a relationship. And, I would say here that, this is not something to be rushed, really. If we go back to the Five of Wands, the Five of Wands is telling us is telling you to allow your maturity to lead the way here. And this card is saying, take the blindfold away. The bandages here, they're not really tight, they're quite loose. So there is a certain degree of you covering your eyes up. What's going on in your head is what's determining what's happening in this relationship too. So don't be passive. Speak your truth. Know your worth. And really, you need to know your worth before you can speak your truth. And here we're looking at, really good person here. But this person is traditional, is possibly very stubborn, and you need to look and see what is it that you want out of the relationship. What kind of partner are you looking for here in the relationship? Because this person can make a great partner. However, the question here is this great partner the partner that you require? And this card is telling us that there is definitely a degree of childishness and immaturity going on in the sort of conflict that's in this reading. So this is about being mature and steady and know what's what, and in order really to resolve it. But you need to take the blinds off here and know your self-worth. Stop being so eager to please, and and whether you may have to resist this eagerness as a belief system that this is something that you need to do. So I hope that answers any questions that any of you may have with regards to your relationships in this particular reading for this particular week. And therefore, we've come now to the end of our reading. And if it resonates with you, do please leave me a message. I love to hear from you. And if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can be to be notified for the next reading. And you may book mixed up in myself here. If you'd like to know more, you can book a reading with me. I would love to hear from you too. So you may find my email at the address at the bottom of the video. And until next week, I'm going to love you and leave you.